Good morning. This is Barbara Burton. I'm working on my fourth assessment part of the vlog for EPS 415. This is for the Red Velvets, Red 3. Various levels of assessment would be needed to evaluate the Magic Bus University project, the part that I worked on. And the results are likely to be interrelated. This is not a big surprise. Investigation would be needed to assess the Magic Bus's program results. Is this an effective way to offer this kind of education? Assessments of the technical issues would also be necessary. This would be key in the evaluation. This might include the implementation of the program, the mechanics, ease of use for the students, technical issues, and so on. Do the steps fit together? Do the levels fit together? And the believability. All of this would be important on the technical side. So this is very important as well. Both the impact assessment and the assessment of the system is important in the strategic planning process as we continue to improve the system. It's also necessary in providing documentation for new and improved ways to offer this kind of educational programming, and also to make sure that the funders know that they're getting their money's worth. Some of the issues that might be problematic in the implementation area could be solved on the fly. That is, technical issues, things like that, basically might be needed to be solved immediately with a feedback loop. Obviously, you can keep documentation of this, a logbook, so that these kinds of technical things could come up, that come up maybe regularly, could be looked at over the various Education USA centers to see if there are commonalities, so that these could be addressed at the system level. Student users could also be queried regarding their experience with the program. How easy was it to use? Was it intimidating? Did the technology work well? Was it believable? It should be recognized, however, that it's likely that the data collected will reflect the moments of terror for the staff when the system crashes or something happens that's not so good. So the students may have, they're most likely to give you responses if it didn't go well for them. It's important information to apply to the improvements in the technology, though, and also in the way that students engage with it. In terms of assessing the impact of Magic Bus University, as a way of providing this educational content for orientation, pre-orientation, and so on, this would be dependent on the development of the individual students. Obviously, student learning and development is the main objective of this program. So how does this program help students achieve these desired learning outcomes? This is the indicator of the positive impact that we're looking for. The learning that took place among the student participants would need to be assessed. Do they learn or master educational content presented through the Magic Bus University platform? The actual behaviors that indicate learning are part of the expected tasks or challenges in the different levels of the VR gaming experience. So assessment of their learning and progress is embedded in the experience. This is the kind of evaluation that's spoken about in Dunleavy and Deed's research or discussion that we read about. This is learning that can be demonstrated by investigating the students' abilities to succeed at the challenges of a particular level, which reflect the challenges that they will actually have to go through, or are representative of the challenges they will actually go through in the pre-departure, orientation, and first-year experience process. Students will be required to utilize skills and knowledge that have been part of the educational content to solve or address the various problems and challenges that are part of the level. So basically, they're going to use what they've learned and demonstrate that in progressing through a level. So the decisions and ways that they go about this will indicate whether they succeed. Once they've successfully maneuvered their way through a particular level, that make up the experience, they can move on to another set of challenges. Working their way successfully through a level and mastering the various challenges by itself is a form of evaluation. Progress toward mastery of the various levels of the VR game in Magic Bus University is a way of assessing student learning in the various areas, as well as their engagement and learning. These challenge experiences in VR are not completely fictionalized. In other words, students are going through a game, they're participating in a game, but some of the things that they're doing actually could apply to this process in real life. The game will ask them to get together their documentation that they will need for obtaining the F1 visa. So this is something they can actually use. So there's actually things that, this isn't just a game, in other words, but there are things in it that are fictionalized, and their success at negotiating these challenges is a good way of assessing whether they learned anything. Students would also be able to assess their own progress as they gain levels and points on their MBU journey. The information is logged and it's available to them through their ticket login. The achievement or success in completing levels and accomplishing the very real tasks, these are going to look like real hopefully, involved in these processes would provide measures for assessing learning. And these data would be readily available in the student's records, so it would be easy to get as long as we would observe all the human subject waivers and make sure that students know what we're doing with their data and that it's appropriate what we're doing with their data. Now, in terms of assessment, given the resources of the backers that I propose, which would be the U.S. university or higher education community and the U.S. government, I believe that there's enough will and resources to conduct a longitudinal research project on students and how they progress with and without the participation in the Magic Bus University. There will still be students at U.S. colleges and universities who have not gone through the program, of course. It might be useful to develop a comparison data and between participants and non-participants and look at their student success, adjustment, and so on toward their educational goals. I know that these criteria are not easily elucidated, so this would not be a simple process, and it would require funding and time to complete. It's a long-term longitudinal thing. We're looking at a student's educational career. Because the resource investment that might be required for this project, which would be quite large, it's not out of line given this scope of work. And when you look at an evaluation part of any grant project, it's usually pretty big these days. So I don't think this is really out of line. This type of investigation offers useful insights for educators as they work with the international student population. So this would have utility beyond those in the Magic Bus program. Even in the absence of the MBU program, institutions could access the long-term research and benefit from the results. It could be helpful in structuring their on-campus orientations, first-year experiences, and so on, in ways that will help integrate international students into their campus. So this provides another good reason for doing the research. Thank you.